Hobson has put the Lobos on his shoulders and said, let's go, I'll carry you. And he has done so during several games this year. So Fredette has the basketball, and BYU starts the second half with the possession, down by 8. Tyler Hawes. Inside for Miles. Working against Hardiman. And a strong move to the hoop. Bounces out. And a rebound. Darrington Hobson. Here's Garrett to the basket. He's got 13. Leading scorer in the game now, Darius Garrett. And the largest lead of the game now at 10 points. Fredette has been guarded by Darius Garrett. Got around him for the moment. Tyler Hawes underneath for Miles. And that's partially blocked by Hardiman. BYU gets it back. A foul, count the basket, and Chris Miles will go to the line for a possible three-point play. Foul's going to be on Martinez, his second.
And keeping the ball alive is Noah Hartsock. He kicks it back out. Miles comes up with it, and he draws the contact and is able to get the ball up on the rim.
So the first half, we didn't see much in the way of fouls, and now the second half starts with Miles at the line. And he completes the three-point play. He's got 3 points for his afternoon of work so far. Miles, a local product from Timpview High School in Provo, playing in his final game at the Marriott Center. A steal. Emery comes away with the basketball. Hawes pulls up. Hartsock, the step back. And the Cougars have cut the lead in half. 4 points for Hartsock. That's BYU basketball.
And back-to-back turnovers on the offensive end for New Mexico. Getting to where they want to be. Gary able to split the double team, but can't finish the play.
Hawes had nowhere to go. Found Emery. And Hartsock back for Hawes. He's open. He got away from Darrington Hobson.
Well, and Tim, BYU 3 straight times offensively has gone inside to the post to start their offense.
Goes Gary to the basket. He is fouled. And the foul will be on Michael Loyd. And Darius Gary had to be retrieved.
They had to fish him out of the crowd. And this is where Darius Gary's done such a good job, and our cameraman Dirk on the floor with Darius Gary.
That's above and beyond the call, Dirk.
Well, and you know, you have to wonder if Jimmer Fredette is not feeling well. Darius Gary went by him a couple of times. We noticed him shoot around. He seemed to be walking around with his head down, and they bring Michael Loyd in the first minute of the second half for Jimmer Fredette. And Loyd is, got great quickness as an on-the-ball defender. Try to stay in front of Darius Gary, but we've heard no word. But Fredette certainly doesn't seem up to par.
1 out of 2 from the line for Gary. 6-point New Mexico lead. Hawes finds Loyd. Now Emery. Long and hops in the rebound. Darius Gary for Philip McDonald. Tried the three, and a big rebound by the guard, Michael Loyd. He goes the route. Little scoop, no good, but he's fouled. The foul on Darius Gary. And Michael Loyd Jr. will go to the line to shoot 2.
You see Loyd, a very athletic player, and Gary looked like he had position with his feet. They always look to see how he slides a little bit to the left that time. They look to see if you kind of throw that hip out and slide a little bit. Even though his feet were solid, he did get a piece of Michael Loyd Jr. on the way into the rim.
Michael Loyd from Las Vegas, Palo Verde High School there. And he is true on 2 free throws.
Michael Loyd usually gets about 11 and a half minutes a game, but he sure is in early here in the second half.
Philip McDonald on the miss. Roman Martinez picks up the offensive board. Emery will lead the break. A 4-on-3. Inside for Miles. And a foul. And what's happening here now, Blaine, is BYU is able to score with the clock stopped early in the second half, and they've been able to trim this New Mexico advantage.
And this time, New Mexico does a good job on the primary break. They get back and stop the ball, but the trailer, Miles, runs all the way down to the low block, and nobody accounts for him. Easy entry pass, and it puts him on the line. Now, Chris Miles is a guy that when he started at BYU was miserable from the free throw line. Really struggled. And it goes to show you, if you put some work in, now as a senior, he is a decent free throw shooter. He shoots 67%, and for a big man, that is not bad. And this was a guy that, as a freshman, and when he first returned from his mission as a sophomore, really struggled.
Rebound McDonald off the miss. 3-point game, 46-43. 3 minutes gone by, second half. Hobson swatted away by Hartsock. Loyd leads the break. Michael Loyd! Where did that come from? BYU, one of the best in the transition game. Hartsock with the swat, and Loyd goes the distance. Welcome back to Provo, where Mountain West basketball is presented by KFC. A 1-point game in favor of the Lobos of New Mexico. BYU getting back in it. Watch how they feed the trailer in transition.
Now we talk about the secondary break. Watch right here. This is Miles, and he's going to finish down to the low block. I want you to follow him now. As Emery veers to the right, New Mexico does not account. They don't hustle back and get the trailer. You've got to pick up the trailer. He ends up getting fouled and going to the free throw line for the Cougars. So BYU was stopped on the initial break. New Mexico stopped the ball, but they did not stop the trailer.
22,700 on their feet at the Marriott Center. BYU just a few moments ago trailed by 10. Now it's a 1-point game, and Jackson Emery reached in. Actually, they're going to call the foul on Michael Loyd.
Now, the official, when he came to the table, said number 10 with a hand check. So when you extend two hands, as Michael Loyd did, you're going to pick up that foul.
I think the reaction from Emery, he thought he was getting called for the reach. Hobson over Hartsock, and Emery brings it out. BYU a chance to retake the lead. No look to the corner. And Loyd pumps the pass back to Emery. 15-footer is taken down, and a foul is called. Fouls on Noah Hartsock. That'll be his first.
And this ball hits hard off the back of the rim. It's a long, long rebound. Wow. And that's almost like a loose ball. Three guys battling for the ball. And how about Darius Gary? The little guy is the guy that ends up coming up with it there, and they call the foul on Hartsock.
So important in a game like this for those guards to get out and rebound. Hobson throws it out of bounds. They are fired up here in Provo. BYU a chance for the lead when we return.
Be sure to check out today's IM Furniture Lucky Winner. Today's winners are all several attendants who won a $50 gift card redeemable within the next 2 weeks. Choose, design, and save at IM Furniture.
A 1-point lead for New Mexico. Very cute baby. And speaking of babies, not only did our production manager versus Stuart Flanagan have a big week this week with this big matchup, but he and his wife Jane were still able to welcome into the world this morning a new baby girl, Catherine Grace Flanagan. She weighed in at 7 pounds, 1 ounce. Daughter and mother are doing fine, and our congratulations to the entire Flanagan family on their newcomer. The newcomer of the year in the Flanagan family is Catherine Grace. Thanks, Stu, for all you do.
Tim, we were wondering if there was something up with Jimmer Fredette, and he's sitting on the bench now, and he doesn't sit at this point in the game. And at the break, we got word from the trainer that he has an upset stomach. He's got a stomach ache and has not felt well, and so he's sitting down right now a bit ill. And it's on Michael Loyd, who's brought a little bit of a spark to this Cougar team as he entered the game.
Here's Hartsock stepping through the defense. And that ball will belong to BYU. Half of New Mexico on the baseline. Well, good teams have to overcome problems like that. If Fredette can't go or is limited in his minutes the rest of the way, BYU needs to find a way to get around that.
Well, and you'll remember earlier in the season, Tim, that Jimmer Fredette had a bout with mononucleosis and missed some games and was limited in others, and BYU found a way to win. And looks like they will have to do that unless he has recovery.
Good pass from Tabernari, and Hartsock scores. BYU's first lead since the 7-10 mark in the first half when they led 30-29. They have erased a 10-point deficit. And a foul is whistled on the perimeter. But Hartsock scores, but watch the touch pass by Tabernari.
The ball is in his hands and gone. And he knew where he was going with it. Great anticipation. And he hits a Hartsock who's rolling to the basket.
Staring Remington Hobson trying to take Tavernari, and he will score. So Hobson with 12. And the Lobos back in front by a point. And here is Tyler Haws. He scores, and he's fouled. This kid is something else.
The young freshman is so good off the dribble. And you see him attack. He's not afraid to go in there and bang. And the other thing, he has a great mid-range jumper. He'll put it on the floor, and then he will pull up at 7 or 8 feet. And kids don't work on that shot anymore, Tim. You know, they shoot the three, they go dunk it when they can dunk it, and nobody works on the in-between game. And Haws is outstanding with that mid-range game.
And he's hit his 26th consecutive free throw. 2-point lead for BYU.
BYU comes back in a zone now, Tim. That should cut down some penetration. New Mexico would like to be able to hit some outside shots against this zone.
Roman Martinez kicks it back outside. Darius Gary knocks down the three. And the Lobos in front by a point. 17 points for Darius Gary. Remember, Gary plays well against BYU. At the pit in January, he had a career-high 25 against the Cougars. Loyd, great spin move, and the teardrop falls. 6 points for Michael Loyd Jr. McDonald, the offensive glass. Hobson, open look. Tavernari will come up with it. Oh, you're right about the spark plug that Loyd has provided.
And when he's scoring, the big benefit you have is he's got tremendous quickness on defense. He has a little bit better ability to stay in front of Darius Gary.
Tyler Haws whips it to Loyd, launching a long one. Got it! 9 points. Michael Lloyd's got a proud papa watching this game in Las Vegas today.
BYU going to stay in that zone, Tim. 2-3.
Darius Gary looking for somewhere to go. McDonald. And Hobson there for the easy putback.
Boy, but give credit to Martinez, who tipped that over, kept that ball alive, and got it to his teammate for the putback.
14 points now for Hobson. Here's Hartsock, free lane to the basket for 2. 8 points for Hartsock, and a 4-point BYU lead. Darius Gary, blocked by Hartsock. Great save by McDonald. And New Mexico with the ball. 12 minutes to play. Martinez, he hits a 3.
All season long, when New Mexico has needed a big shot, the senior wants the ball in his hands. He's been the big shot taker for this team, and he knew that his team needed something to quiet down this crowd.
Over the course of his career, Martinez has made several big shots like that. Foul is called inside on McDonald.
Boy, Michael Loyd Jr., what a spark. The spin and the teardrop. And then he comes down and knocks down the 3. We got a barn burner here in the Marriott Center.
Our game today from Provo, Utah, presented by KFC. It is a 1-point lead for the home team, BYU. 57-56 over New Mexico. Our eHarmony player profile features New Mexico senior Roman Martinez, averaging nearly 14 points a game. Leads the Mountain West in three-point field goals made, 49th in the NCAA, and he's an academic All-American.
Well, I'll tell you, I talked to Roman Martinez last week. He is very proud of that, and that's something that his family should be proud of. A great award, and Steve Alford is as excited about a guy getting an academic All-American citation as he is about an All-American citation. Well, he's been a tremendous leader.
He told me a few weeks back that when Roman Martinez plays his last minute for the Lobos, there won't be a dry eye in that dressing room after the game.
He is a quality player. And I'll tell you this about him. Steve Alford also said that Darrington Hobson wouldn't be near the player he is without Roman Martinez. Martinez has taken him under his wing as a senior, new guy in the program, and taught him how to compete and to work at the Division I level.
Well, 7 points for Jackson Emery, a 3-point BYU lead. A win for New Mexico would lock up the #1 seed in the Mountain West Conference tournament and a share, at least, of the regular season title. A win for BYU, and that can delay some things because BYU still has 2 games remaining. New Mexico only 1. And a foul was called on Jonathan Tavernari, his first, and the 5th on the team. Each team with 5 team fouls. Foul trouble for Philip McDonald of New Mexico. He has 4. He is on the bench. Nate Garth with the ball. Hardiman playing the post. Roman Martinez drains another 3. Ice water in his veins.
Right, San Diego State was held in check by this BYU zone, but New Mexico has just so many weapons on the perimeter. Makes it very difficult to zone them.
Foul before the shot on Hardiman. So that'll be a possession foul. 3rd foul on Hardiman. And Will Brown will check in for New Mexico. Hardiman will come to the bench. Brown with 8 points in the first half. Tavernari, quick step back jumper. And the rebound by Hobson. And Loyd wins the battle for the loose ball. What can you say about the performance of Michael Loyd Jr. today? He has lit a fire under a team that was trailing by 10. He now is in double figures with 11 points. It's his 3rd double-figure game this year. And he is 4 for 4 from the field. That one a bit long. Loose ball. But a whistle. It'll be BYU basketball. Well, Michael Loyd Jr., he can go end to end in a hurry.
Well, I would describe him on this play as a jet. I mean, he saw an opening, and he accelerated, and before anybody had a chance to turn around, he was kissing the ball off the glass. What a tremendous lift he has brought to this BYU team in relief of a sick Jimmer Fredette.
3rd foul on Will Brown. That's the 7th team foul on New Mexico, so Hawes goes to the line to shoot 1 and 1 with a string of 26 straight. They get 27.
And in his stroke, it's the same. You watch, it's the same number of dribbles every time. The routine is the same. He's going to miss one eventually, but that routine remains the same every single free throw.
28 straight. Now you were shooting this morning, just trying to hit a few in a row
with nobody
with
on
an
me.
empty building and nobody on the end of the
And
lane.
I thought, okay, 23 came in the game with. I'm going to try to make 23. Nah, I couldn't do it. I missed it, number 17.
Laws now with 16 points in the game. 4 points the advantage for the home team. Here's Hobson. Barrington Hobson. A foul is called. Like Jonathan Tavernari's committed his second personal.
And he picks up too quick here in the second half. Went without fouling in that first half. In fact, there weren't very many fouls called in that first half, Tim.
And no more fouls to give. That's the 6th team foul. Gary to Garth. Inside, Hobson fumbled it out of bounds, but Tavernari may have touched it. And it'll be New Mexico's basketball with 24 seconds on the shot clock.
Nate Garth had the right idea. He penetrated. He had his post player open on the block. He just couldn't get that bounce pass around. BYU goes back to man now after several defensive sets of 2-3 zone.
There's Martinez on the curl. He's fouled and scores. A possible three-point play for the senior out of El Paso, Texas, Ramon Martinez.
And they're working Ramon Martinez hard off of the screens. And he comes around, catches the ball off that screen, and turns and attacks. And Jonathan Tavernari finds himself in no man's land there.
And Martinez on the miss. And another foul. And this foul will be on Will Brown of New Mexico. So the ball goes back down into the BYU end. And there'll be some shots. Well, after they go for the gold, they'll chase a bigger piece of hardware. The Honda drive to the playoffs begins Monday night on Versus. 5 games in 4 nights. First up, Monday at 9 Eastern. A classic rivalry is renewed as the Red Wings head to the Mile High City to collide with the Avalanche. The Honda drive to the playoffs Monday night, 9 Eastern on Versus. A gold medal game featuring the U.S. and Canada tomorrow. And the NHL season picks up again. Davies with a basket.
That's big. The front end of a 1-and-1, so important. You see Jimmer Fredette. And BYU's problems are compounded, Tim, by the fact that Lamont Morgan Jr., who does play a lot of point guard and is another jet that BYU can put on the floor, had to have minor knee surgery, and they expect him back by the tournament in a couple weeks. But right now, he sits there on the bench, and so Michael Loyd's going to have to play a lot of minutes now here without anybody to come off the bench in relief for him.
Hartsock relieves Tavernari, who sits down with 3 fouls. So for New Mexico, they've got Will Brown with 4 fouls, McDonald with 4 fouls, A.J. Hardiman with 3. Maurice Gary cut off by Jackson Emery. Nate Garth feeds Maurice Gary, guarded by Abuo. And the foul is going to be called on Charles Abuo. His first. Both of these teams with 26 wins. UNLV has beaten Air Force, so they now are solidly in 3rd place at 10-5. San Diego State is off this weekend. And how about the big picture in the Mountain West?
Well, there has never been a better big picture, but what a battle now. We got a battle here between these two teams for a championship, and all kinds of jockeying behind for those 3rd, 4th, and 5th seeds in the conference. And Tim, you talk to the coaches in the league, they all say this is the best it's ever been. And last year was a very strong year for this Mountain West Conference.
Maurice Gary continues to pile up points. He has 19. And it's a 1-point game again, just under 9 minutes left. Here's Michael Loyd. 13 points for Michael Loyd. His career high is 17 against Eastern New Mexico, and he's on his way.
And the bigs for New Mexico are going to have to take more note of where Loyd is on the floor because they're going to have to help. He's beating his man off the dribble consistently.
Gary on the miss. And did it go off Gary? Yes, it did. A very heads-up play by Jackson Emery to throw that off to Reese Gary.
And Michael Loyd Jr. so quick that the bigs now have to say, okay, wait a minute. If he's going to take his guy off the dribble, I've got to get there sooner, and we've got to start thinking help defense on this guard for BYU who's done such a tremendous job. He sparked this BYU team, Tim.
We mentioned 13 points, but all of his 13 points have come here in this half. 5 for 5 shooting from the field. Jimmer Fredette played the majority of the first half. And Fredette, as we've been telling you, a little stomach ailment, is on the bench here. Barrington Hobson. Wraparound to a wide open Reese Gary. And he's got 3, but a whistle prior to that. Offensive foul. Could not hear the whistle in this building.
Now Darrington Hobson on the break. He wanted to do the wraparound. Let's see if BYU is set. Oh, nice job by Davies now that we get to see that in slow motion. He got there. He cut the ball off and held his ground.
Darrington Hobson, who has his 6th double-double in his past 7 games. 11 double-doubles on the season. 14 points, 10 rebounds. And Hawes knocks another one down. 18 points for the true freshman. Garth blocked by Davies. Here comes Loyd. But a whistle will bring it back. And Loyd did not hear it.
Tim, it is so loud in this building that the players cannot hear the whistle at all.
Foul called on BYU's Charles Abuo. We've got a great one at the Marriott Center. Stay with us. West Conference basketball on Versus, presented by KFC. 7:26 remaining in the ball game. Michael Loyd has been getting it done in the second half. Reese Gary trying to get to the basket, but it's been good defense by Noah Hartsock on the interior, which leads to points.
Well, and Michael Loyd has brought an element of quickness to this BYU team that has really helped them on the offensive end. And BYU's at its best. And you look at that first half, no points, very few minutes. Second half, he's exploded. BYU's run has been sparked by his energy and great play on the defensive end, which has sparked some transition buckets for the Cougars.
And to give you an idea of how this ball game has gone, the score has been tied 8 different times, and there have been 14 lead changes. Nate Garth from Sacramento, California. Sophomore guard missed the first of two. Missed the second of two. Ramon Martinez comes up with a big rebound for New Mexico. Barrington Hobson back out for Garrett.
New Mexico has found themselves in a number of close ball games lately, and they always seem to find a way to get it done. And it's been Gary and Martinez that have lifted them in games when it's been close.
Harden in the basket. 4 points for him. It's now a 3-point difference when there's 7 minutes left. Davies backing in. Good inside move with the left hand. He won't score, but he'll go to the line for two. And the foul is going to be called on A.J. Hardiman. That's his fourth. So 3 players with 4 fouls. And all Jimmer Fredette, the conference's leading scorer, can do is watch at this point in time. With 6 points today and a bit of a stomach ailment that is keeping him on the bench.
And in that first half, we commented when we went away to the break at how few fouls had been called in that first half, and it says the game has tightened up. Players getting more physical. Both teams from this point forward will be in the double bonus.
Well, there's a discrepancy from the table as to how many fouls that A.J. Hardiman has. It has been determined it will be 4, and he has not fouled out. They did blow the horn for him to come over to the bench.
Yeah, they thought that he had been disqualified with 5 fouls, and he has not.
Well, chances of somebody on New Mexico being disqualified are getting greater with 3 players with 4 fouls.
Well, as we mentioned, BYU will shoot 2 from this point forward. That's 10 team fouls on New Mexico. BYU has 9 team fouls. And so New Mexico will be shooting 2 as well on every foul from this point forward. And this after a first half with hardly any fouls called at all.
New Mexico went to the line once in the first half. 7 points for Davies. And a 4-point BYU lead. And Davies fouls Gary on the perimeter. That'll put him to the line. Both teams in the double bonus the rest of the way.
And when you're going to come out and hedge on the screen, as Davies did that time, you've got to step out and redirect that point guard. That time, Davies was late. He knew it. And rather than let Gary drive all the way for a layup, he reached out and fouled Darius Gary, put him on the free throw line where he makes 76% of his free throw pitches.
He was 5 of 7 in the game from the line. Another one to go. Here comes Jonathan Tavernari. Tavernari from São Bernardo, Brazil. In July, Tavernari will report to Brazil to prepare for August's World Championships as a member of Team Brazil. Told me he's the 11th guy on the team. And figures that when the 2016 Summer Olympics roll around in his home country, Rio de Janeiro in Brazil, he figures he'll be in his prime and will be a pretty solid contributor to that Olympic team.
Well, and Tavernari will be a very good international player. You know, they like guys that can go rebound but also step out and shoot the ball with range, and he certainly has all kinds of range with a 3-ball.
There's Loyd. Michael Loyd Jr. Tyler Hawes. Tavernari. Jackson Emery puts the ball on the floor. Back out to Loyd. And Hobson, his 11th rebound.
The 6th double-double in the past 7 games, as you mentioned, for Barrington Hobson.
And Philip McDonald hits a 3. And New Mexico back on top, 70-69. 9 points for McDonald. Back and forth we go inside the final 6 minutes. 15th lead change. Emery drives it in traffic. Forced up a bad one. And turned it back over. So BYU with the basketball. 5:38 to go. Each team with 10 team fouls. So shooting 2 on every foul now. The rest of the way. Along with Blaine Fowler, Tim Neverett at the Marriott Center in Provo. 22,700 on hand, a sold-out crowd. And they are loud. Tavernari trying to get around Martinez. Loyd will reset with just under 10 seconds on the shot clock. He goes to the basket, changes hands, and gets the roll. 15 points. It's number 10's day. All of his points coming here in half number 2 in a 71-70 lead. Gary lobs for Hobson. And he scores. He's fouled. Darrington Hobson will go to the line for a possible three-point play. How about Loyd?
And Steve Alford was very upset with his bigs that time, and they were running down the floor, and he yelled out at A.J. Hardiman and said, "Where's the help? Get out there," and cut him off. And then Darrington Hobson, see that right arm, he's able to get around, get to the front of the rim, and he converts and has an opportunity for a three-point play.
16 points, 13 rebounds for Hobson. 17 now. New Mexico with a 2-point lead. Well, if you're planning on going anywhere in the next 4.5 minutes, I delay your plans. I'd buckle up and watch this one. Tavernari hits. Tie game. The 9th tie. 73-73. Tonight on Versus, it's NBA D-League action. Tomorrow's NBA stars hit the hardwood today as the Bakersfield Jam take on the Austin Toros. The NBA D-League tonight, 11 p.m. Eastern on Versus. Last time these two teams got together went the way of the Lobo. It was at the Pit. BYU had been on a bit of a roll, but Jimmer Fredette, who was outstanding in the game in late January, just wasn't as good as Therese Gary, who scored a career-high 25 in that one. And the Lobos watched their point guard score 9 of his points in the last 90 seconds of the game.
Oh, and he made 6 for 6 from the free throw line down the stretch. He's a clutch player, and as I mentioned earlier, in a game that's tight, they look for the ball to be in Therese Gary's hands, and Ramon Martinez is always lurking for that big three.
Foul is called on Jackson Emery. Second foul on Emery. Well, you talk about the Lobos playing. They've not lost a game in 7 weeks. Their last loss was a game you saw here on Versus on the 9th of January against UNLV. It was at the Pit, 74-62. Running Rebels beat them.
And when you are winning, and when you're winning close ball games like the Lobos have, there's a certain confidence that is out there on the floor that allows you to think, you know what? It's a close game. We win these kind of games. And that's New Mexico's mentality right now.
74-73. Loyd has his pocket pick, but Emery picks it right back. Tavernari long on the three, but the long rebound taken by Emery. He'll try to hit. Oh, what a shot! Jackson Emery into double figures with 10. McDonald for Ramon Martinez. He hits a three. Martinez' third three ball of the game.
And Tim, when the game's on the line, if you're BYU, you better find number 30 and find where he's sitting in that offense and make sure you cover him.
Tyler Hawes And Martinez the rebound. Martinez hit 8 threes in a game against the University of San Diego earlier in the year.
Well, New Mexico has so many guys that can penetrate and get your attention defensively, and then Martinez sits on the perimeter and makes himself available to hit those wide open threes.
Darrington Hobson, 3. And the Lobos extend their lead to 4. New Mexico, I wouldn't say they're pulling away at this point in time, but they have lost 9 straight to BYU in Provo. Their last win here is February 17th, 2000, when they won by just 4 points, 78-74. And right now they're coming up with some key rebounds. So a 30-second timeout is called. 2.5 minutes remaining. A 4-point lead for New Mexico as Darrington Hobson with a dagger from the corner.
Well, and it's set up by penetration. Steve Alford talked to this team all day about penetration, and good things happen when those threes come off of passes from the inside. Doris Gary drew that defense in and kicked to the perimeter, and then BYU tried to recover, but too late.
Well, the New Mexico Lobos have played outstanding. They came to play today, and this is one of the tougher buildings you're going to play in. BYU is unbeaten on their home floor this year, and New Mexico just came in with a game plan and said, who cares? We're going to try to win this game outright, and if they do, they'll get at least a share of the Mountain West title.
Well, and they understand how to win close ball games. And look, at last 2 times down the floor, what did we talk about? Martinez is looking to make a big shot. He hits a 3. And then Doris Gary wants the ball in his hand. He creates a 3. For Darrington Hobson, they understand how to win close ball games. And for BYU without Jimmer Fredette on the floor, who's going to be the guy to step up and try to bring them home?
Doris Gary trying to step to the double team, and McDonald goes out of bounds. Said he was trying to call timeout, but his back was toward the official and couldn't do it. 4-point lead for New Mexico. BYU trying to come back.
Basketball on Versus is presented by KFC. Ready to unthink the wing? Try the new fiery grilled wings, only at Mountain West Basketball on Versus is presented by KFC. Ready to unthink the wing? Try the new fiery grilled wings, only at KFC.
Sold out house, and you know it's a big game when the tent cities develop. Students sleeping out for almost a week in order to be first in line to get into the student section. Only 5,500 student seats. They're first come, first serve. So we perused the tent city earlier, and a lot of donuts out there this morning.
Yeah, there was donuts, hot chocolate. We did not partake. We're watching our diets right now, but there were definitely a lot of folks that were excited about this ball game, and rightly so, and it's been everything we thought it would be.
Today's game brought to you by KFC. Well, the final 2:15. BYU with the basketball. They need a bucket. Trailing by 4 at home. Here's Tyler Hawes. He lost control, and Hardiman takes over for New Mexico. What's at stake for BYU? A 21-game home court winning streak. They are 15-0 at home this season.
And Steve Alford stood up and instructed his team, use some clock on this set.
Garrett spots up. And McDonald was near it, but it went out off of BYU, so New Mexico will have the ball on the baseline.
And again, this New Mexico staff says, hey, use some clock. They yell out to the floor general out there, Darius Gary, and tell him, make sure you use as much of that 35 and get a good shot.
Darrington Hobson guarded by Tavernari. Poked away and went off of Hobson. BYU basketball.
And Jonathan Tavernari working hard out on the outside, and he gives a little tip, and then it goes off of Hobson's fingertips. And they wanted Darrington Hobson to give the ball up, get it to Darius Gary, the ball handler on that one.
Here's Loyd. Michael Loyd Jr., 17 points. He has equaled his career high. A 2-point game. And Loyd with a trap. Emery to Loyd. And a new career high. In a tie ball game. We're in the final minute. New Mexico wants timeout. Jonathan Tavernari upset. 52 and 1/10 remain in this game. We're back to square one.
Oh, and a little altercation at the end of that. You see the trap here, Gary. Hartsock jumping out on the hedge, and you see Tavernari coming over and helping. And with Michael Loyd Jr. really responsible for the ball being loose. Jackson Emery comes up with it, and the flush on the other end. What a game for Michael Loyd Jr.
Certainly one he'll remember for a long time, regardless of the outcome here. Anybody's game. And you have to think, Blaine, those students didn't sleep out in tents for a week for nothing.
We knew it would be this way, Tim. These are two top 15 teams living up to their billing in this game. And whoever wins this game should move up. And whoever loses this game should stay put in the rankings. This is a game between two heavyweights, and the officials want to take a look at the end of this play as the timeout's called. Jonathan Tavernari comes over, and a little bit of an altercation between Tavernari and Darrington Hobson at the end of all of that.
So, teams have settled down a little bit. It's a little perspective, again, on Michael Loyd Jr.'s performance. 19 points, all in the second half, in only 23 minutes played.
Well, and he's 8 of 9 from the field. 1 for 2 from the three-point line. He's perfect 2 for 2 from the free throw line. He's got 4 rebounds and 2 assists.
Both teams have their school's best record after 29 games at 26-3. The Mountain West Conference, the only conference in America with 2 teams with 26 wins. And I'm sure that Loyd would trade everything he did today in for a win. UNLV has won today. They beat Air Force. San Diego State off. Colorado State getting better. Tied with Utah in the standings. And BYU still has Utah to come. That's on Wednesday night. That will not be easy. And then both teams will finish with TCU. New Mexico with only 1 game remaining, and that is against the Horned Frogs at the Pit a week from today.
And Michael Loyd Jr., not only has he been good on the offensive end, he's sparked this defense. BYU now with 16 points off of turnovers, and New Mexico only able to generate 5 off of turnovers in this ball game. It's There's been a few big turnovers here at the end where New Mexico looked like they were closing this ball game out, and Michael Loyd Jr. involved in getting his hand on a couple of balls. Jonathan Tavernari playing good defense, and now all of a sudden, this thing's going to come down to the last shot.
Randy McCall telling Darrington Hobson to kind of cool it. Tavernari didn't accept the handshake offer from Hobson. Now we're back at it. Gary. And the rebound by Hardiman. He's got two. And New Mexico back in front. 6 points for A.J. Hardiman.
And the 13th offensive rebound for this Lobo team. And that's a huge board.
Tavernari for three. And guess who's got the rebound? But a foul is called on BYU's Jackson Emery.
Boy, and Gary on the drive with a miss. And how big is this rebound for A.J. Hardiman, who comes from out of his area to track that ball and put it back in. And Jonathan Tavernari on the other end with a very good look. He was open. That's a good shot for him, and he was right on line. The ball was just short.
BYU wants to take a quick timeout. What a game for Darrington Hobson. 20 points, 15 rebounds. One away from tying his career high of 16 against Creighton. And trying to become the first player in Lobo history to lead the team in scoring, rebounding, and assists. And inside the BYU huddle, assistant coach Dave Rice giving some instruction. Rice, a member of the national championship team at UNLV in 1990. And both of these teams have an opportunity to get high seeds in the NCAA tournament, which hasn't been the case. When you look at BYU, they lose in the first round. They've had 8 seeds, 9 seeds, and they've been matched up very closely the last 2 years with Texas A&M and Xavier before that. But this year, pretty much guaranteed both of them will be wearing the lighter colored jersey their first game.
Well, and these teams projected right now, both are in that 3-4 type area, and if they have a strong postseason tournament, they should both be in that area come NCAA tournament time.
Oh, Reese Gary.
That's a big miss because now it makes it a one-possession game even if he makes this.
There is no shot clock for the rest of the game. A 3-point lead, 23 points for Reese Gary. Michael Loyd to the basket, kicks it out. Tyler Hawes, too long. And Jackson Emery steals it. And Hardiman, it appeared that he was called for the foul, and that will be number 5 on A.J. Hardiman. So Hardiman has fouled out with 17 and 4/10 seconds to go.
Well, and BYU got the shot they wanted. They wanted penetration and a kick, an open 3 for Tyler Hawes, and he misses. And look at Jackson Emery stay with it to go get the ball. And when the steal occurs, Hardiman wants to get that ball back and reaches in. And so Jackson Emery will go to the free throw line.
And these are not just big, but enormous free throws. A timeout situation. BYU has 2 remaining. New Mexico 1. And here is Jackson Emery, former Utah Mr. Basketball from Lone Peak High School. And he leaves the door open for New Mexico. And he's got 1 out of 2. It's a 2-point game. And quickly a foul is called on Jackson Emery. So the Lobos will go down and shoot. 4th foul on Emery. As we reset you here, there are the timeouts we mentioned a moment ago. 2 for BYU, 1 for New Mexico. Double bonus, and the possession arrow favoring the Lobos. So any tied up ball, New Mexico will get the possession. And again, Gary misses.
Boy, and Gary has been so good this season at closing teams out. He did a great job down in Albuquerque in the first game between these two.
Long on the second one. 14 seconds to go. Here is Loyd. BYU trying to tie. And Dave Rose will call a timeout before the shot.
And he calls a timeout right before Jackson Emery pulls up and knocks down a three. Of course, a little easier to shoot that three after the whistle has blown.
So BYU gets to set up what could be the final shot of the game, or maybe the game-tying shot.
Well,
so,
and keep in mind, if for BYU they want to take the best shot that they can get. When you're down, to take care of the basketball at the end of games. He's been so good. He missed a few free throws in this one.
Well, this one came as advertised. It's coming right down to the end. BYU can tie it or win it. Trailing by 2, 83-81. Just over 8.5 seconds to play.
And you want to take a shot with enough time that you can offensive rebound it. You send everyone to the glass.
Hartsock to the basket. That's blocked. New Mexico's got the rebound. Will Brown comes down with a loose ball. Tavernari the foul. Fourth foul on Tavernari, but what a defensive play for New Mexico.
And with 4 fouls in the game on the line, Will Brown knows that he's got to come up big. It's a help side this time. He comes over, slides down. Oh, and it's Darrington Hobson that comes up with it from the help side. Watch, Brown's beat. Here comes Hobson. Beautiful block by Darrington Hobson, and the reaction from the Lobo bench.
Six-tenths of a second remain. And Brown, even if he hits this one, there's still time for a three-point shot for BYU to tie it. Brown with 8 points. Dave Rose wants a timeout to discuss the final half-second plus. What is at stake for BYU? Well, firmly confines of the Marriott Center. 21 straight wins dating back to last season. That is at stake.
Well, in this game, about seeding for the conference tournament, about a conference championship, and about seeding for the NCAA tournament. The winner here comes out with a very strong case to be a 3 seed in the NCAA tournament.
And it could end a string of 3 straight, at least, shares of the Mountain West regular season title for BYU. New Mexico had a share of it last year, trying to gain a share, but a win here today for the Lobos would give them the #1 seed at the tournament based on tiebreakers. They have 1 regular season game remaining. It's in a week against TCU. And the officials want to look at the replay to make sure who was fouled. Jimmer Fredette, obviously a bit disappointed. 6 points for him. He's not been able to play in the second half due to sickness.
And they want to look at the clock as well. Hobson and the foul there on Tavernari, and who was fouled? It's Will Brown that is fouled. And certainly looking to see when that arm went up and the whistle was blown, how much time was left on the clock at that time.
And, you know, the BYU coaching staff wanted to make sure that that was right. I'm sure they requested that. They're hoping for a couple of more valuable ticks on the clock.
Let's take a look. The clock you see in the lower left-hand corner. Here's the foul. And let's look for the arm to raise. Boy, and the arm doesn't raise until .6. The foul, and it's when the foul occurs, and certainly that foul occurred with the arm wrapped around by Jonathan Tavernari, with probably another half a second added on there. We'll be interested to see what happens here.
So they decided to put 3/10 on the clock. It'll be .9. And any tenths of a second valuable for BYU, and certainly agonizing for New Mexico, having the lead on the road this late in the game. This is a brutally difficult building to win in if you're the road team. 9 straight times the Lobos have come here and lost. So Will Brown, with a 2-point lead, will have one more free throw. He's had a lot of time to think about it. And he missed. And the timeout call, the final one for BYU. 3/10 of a second ticked off, and it shows you how valuable those 3/10 were.
Right. What it does is it gives BYU now the full .6 to try to set up a play, and they're going to get the ball on their own baseline. They'll have to throw something down court with somebody going toward the basket. You can catch and shoot with .6, but this would be a miracle, and it would have to be a 3 unless they can throw it all the way down into the paint. Very unlikely.
Nobody with any timeouts remaining. And New Mexico with the possession. See Craig Neal and there, the assistant coach, former Toronto Raptor, boyhood friend of head coach Steve Alford. And Tyler Hawes, who will be missing for the next 2 years for BYU, going on his LDS mission after this season.
Now you talk about with BYU seniors, and they don't lose that many seniors, but Hawes is a big loss as he heads on his mission.
So, comes down to this. 0.6 of a second left. BYU trails by 2. Jackson Emery with the long inbound. Michael Loyd will touch it. It's tipped away by Gary, and that's going to do it. A defensive play by Darius Gary. And the New Mexico Lobos have locked up the #1 seed at the conference tournament and guaranteed themselves